Hello, welcome or welcome back, my favorite movement enthusiasts. Today is going to be all about getting started or restarted in your fitness journey. So we'll go through a couple of things before we get into the explicit training routine, which I will add a timestamp here. If you don't want to listen to this, you can move on right to the training or the workout session. But this is mostly going to regard people who want to lose fat, reduce fat, and build muscle or a more healthy composition in their body. So you're not going to be surprised when we talk about a calorie deficit, which is the primary thing that will help you change your body composition much more than training will ever. As you've probably heard many times, abs are made in the kitchen, and that is true. So the most important thing for you is getting into a calorie deficit. Now keep in mind, we're talking about calories metabolized versus calories burned. Most people will not have 100% efficiency when it comes to burning the calories they eat, and depending on your body composition before you start, you're going to be burning more or less. People with a higher fat count in their body will be burning less calories than people who have a higher percentage of muscle mass, because muscle mass requires more energy, which means that we're going to be burning or metabolizing more energy throughout the day. Now, it's very important here to make the distinction that I am not talking about a diet, because diets usually don't work. You have a huge calorie deficit, you do it over a short period of time, you might have initial success, but more than 90% of people who go on a diet put the same weight or even more back on within 12 months. So what we want to do is find a way for you to be in a calorie deficit for a prolonged period of time. And by that, I don't mean like a couple of months, but a couple of years, depending on how heavy you are and how much fat you want to reduce. In that case, the calorie deficit should not exceed more than 100 to 150 kilocalories per day, meaning if you burn 2000, the maximum amount of calories you should be eating is 1850 to 1900. Keeping this calorie deficit minimal will help you do this over a prolonged period of time. Because, and that ties into our second point, we want to build sustainable habits we can live with for years and not change our body instantly and then have to go through this multiple times, because we're always yo-yoing up and down with our weight, losing weight, gaining weight, changing our composition so many times that it becomes even more unhealthy than just being overweight or obese. For our second point, sustainability is the most important thing you need to be careful about. If your routine, be it the eating, the training, and all of the things combined are not sustainable, it doesn't matter how long you do it, after a while you will fall back into the same problems you had before. We want to change our lives for the positive by doing small incremental changes over a long period of time, which has been shown to be the only, and I literally mean the only, successful way of becoming really healthy, in shape, and staying healthy. That means that you need to find a routine that you can do at the very least 4 to 5 times a week. It doesn't have to be a long one. You can start out with 10 minutes a day, and over the course of multiple weeks, increase, because this is how training works. We use progressive overload, increasing the load and intensity or the frequency of our training sessions over time to get more and better and stronger and faster results. And let me make this clear, and you will notice once we start with the training session itself, it is way more simple to get in shape than most people make it out to be. The fitness industry is a predatory one in its nature, meaning it wants you to buy supplements, to buy equipment, to go to the gym, to have subscriptions and all of this stuff that you don't actually need. Just to prove a point, last year I burned almost 700,000 calories just by walking. Now I have to add, due to my body composition, I metabolize a lot of calories and I burn through a lot of calories, but those are 2 to 4 hours of walking every day over the course of a year. I didn't miss a single day because this is how I get to places. Vienna is a walkable city, which is very beneficial to me. And even if you don't go to the gym, if you don't train anything else, if you just focus on walking, take out 15 minutes of your day and increase that every couple of weeks. Over time, you will notice that you have burnt an insane amount of calories just by doing this simple exercise. And it is that simple. You don't need to break your head through finding out so many different techniques and training sessions and whatnot. You can just stay with the walking part. It doesn't have to be anything special, but we'll still go through a complete training routine because it's not just about reducing fat. If that is what you want to do, then by all means, that should be the only thing that you concentrate on. But if you also want to be more limber, stronger, and healthier, the older you get, you will have to add exercise routines, which is what we're going to be looking at today. We will focus on a very beginner-friendly routine or training regimen that is very low impact on the joints. So even if you are overweight or a little bit older, you shouldn't have a problem with following, but also has potential to be increased in intensity depending on how far you get by yourself. So you don't have to always look for new exercises and just use the ones that you already have. And all we're going to need for that is 2 pieces of equipment. So let's check them out. These 2 pieces of equipment will be a yoga mat. You don't actually need one. You can lay down on the ground or just work on the ground however you feel, and any sort of seat. Now, you will notice 2 things. 1, anything can be fitness equipment, and number 2, I own cats. Yeah, I'm not allowed to have anything beautiful. She just eats it and spits it out again. Look at that. Look at that. She hates it. She hates everything that's good. That's on me though. So starting with our first exercise, we're gonna just stand here, bring our hands behind our head and raise our knees. Those are standing knee raises. Very standard exercise, working on our hip flexors, our quads and our abdominals as well. As for how many repetitions, I would recommend if you are a total beginner and you're working just with body weight, then go for time instead of repetitions and work half a minute to a full minute per exercise that we're going to be showing today. So this one is very simple, not a lot much more to add. Next up, we're going to grab ourselves our seat, get right in front of it, sit down, bring both our hands once more behind our head, which will be something we'll get used to today. And all we need to do is just stand up and sit back down. So we're doing assisted squats basically, and instead of going full range of motion sitting down into a squat position all the way, we're just gonna sit down on our seat, which is gonna help us over time to build the strength required to get into a real squat without using any help. As for now, we're just gonna sit down and stand up, going for 30 to 60 seconds once more. Controlled movements, no jumping, no explosiveness, just slow and controlled movements, and you can time it by yourself. Now, right after our squat or assisted squats, we will sit down once more, lean back. So I hope you have enough space to put your hands down right behind your butt, and we're gonna start out with leg raises. Now, depending on your strength, let's check out both legs fully extended. Level number 1, pull in one side and then pull in the other side. If you have the strength to do it, then you can do both sides simultaneously. So now we already have a progression. If those are too easy, then we're gonna do leg raises. Keep them extended, and we're going into spinal flexion, rounding our back, and extension, flexion, and extension. Now those are a little bit more exhausting, so build your way up through the easier exercises until you can do those for a full minute per round. Now, as our second squat squat-like exercise, we will once again use our precious seat. We're gonna bring both hands down and close our legs fully. Now, depending on your mobility and if you have any sort of pain, your range of motion will be different. All we want to do is extend our back, sit down, simulate a squat, but holding on, and then when extending, we want to keep our back in spinal extension. This would be spinal flexion, which is going to release all the tension we built in our hamstrings. So instead, we're gonna flex our spinal erectors, which will push our spine into a more neutral or extended position, and use this one from here. Now we're getting a nice stretch in our posterior chain, especially if we fully extend, and then we're gonna switch back into a bent position. Now you don't have to move all the way down. You don't even have to go parallel to the ground. All we need to do is switch with an extended back to a bent position and extended position. A bent position and extended position. We're working on our quadriceps, working a little bit on our tibialis to bring us further forward, and we're constantly engaging our core musculature, which will be very important for most of the exercises we will be doing, and definitely a health bonus. Now we can move down a step lower and start working on our posterior chain as opposed to the other exercises where we were working our anterior chain. So you can just lean forward like so, sit down, knees on the ground, and we're gonna work one-sided once more. Complete extension, raise your leg. We're now flexing our glutes, our hamstrings, our spinal erectors as well. Push up and bring your knee down. Leg extension backwards and all the way down. Leg extension backwards and all the way down. If you want to increase the intensity of this exercise, we can start including more musculature, meaning we start with an extension number 1. We move outward for more outside glute engagement. Number 2, we move inward for more adductor engagement. So we cross over the other leg and then we pull in. Instead of putting our knee down, we're gonna pull closer to our upper body, flex our hip flexors and our abdominals as well before we move into the next repetition. Extension, open, close, pull in, flex your back, and switch it up. Having gone through multiple lower body exercises that include our abdominals, let's do some upper body exercises as well. Once again, we're gonna use our little helper here. We're gonna lean back like so, and we're gonna simulate push-ups. Down and up. The longer the range of motion, of course, the harder the exercise is gonna be. So starting at level number 1, short movements, knees on the ground. And over time, you can start extending those legs the stronger you get, and repeat the whole process. At some point, you will be strong enough to move down on the ground and do your push-ups on your knees. If that is the case, we're gonna pull our knees closer and work from here, all the way down, all the way up. And at the point where we're strong enough to do full push-ups, you can test this every single time you go into this position if you want to. We're gonna do our complete push-up movement. Now we have at the very least 3 to 4 levels of push-up simulations we can do. But depending on where your hands are placed and the angle of your shoulders and elbows, we're gonna be training different muscles. So your arms very close to your upper body is gonna engage more of your triceps. If you wanna include more of your chest musculature, then we're gonna open our elbows sideways and close them back to the middle again. Work sideways and close. Now, we don't want to be too explosive. We don't want to move too fast. We want to have full control over the entire movement. If this is too hard, just come a little bit closer. Shorter movements. Shorter movements. Move back. Longer movements. Harder exercises. Move back. longer movements, harder exercises. If you have knee pain or anything that relates to that, you can put something soft below your knees so you don't hurt yourself. So let's include our shoulders and arms even more to complete this upper body workout routine part. We're gonna start out here once more in a seated position, and we're gonna work a little bit more on our flexibility as well, meaning arms extended. We're gonna push our upper body down, opening our chest, pulling our shoulder blades together at the back and extending our arms fully, and from here, round it back. Pull yourself forward. So instead of using your entire body strength, we're just going to use your arms, latissimus, and round it back. Pull yourself forward, engage your core, and reverse. Work on that shoulder mobility. Push your upper body all the way down and move into the back extension again. Reverse, flex your back, then extend your back, push your upper body all the way down, pull your shoulder blades together. We're going into scapular adduction, like so, and then abduction, pulling them apart and forward. Learning how to activate your traps to get into adduction or abduction, elevation or scapular depression is very important to be able to activate your shoulders at the right moment with the right musculature, which will help us minimize injury risk. Now, you've probably noticed that as we progress with the workout, we're working lower and closer to the ground. So now we're getting to both static exercises that use your entire body and dynamic full body exercises that you can work on from a very safe beginner level and increase over time. Now, instead of going into our very first classic plank, we're just gonna move back with our knees like so and pull our feet in. Extend your arms fully. This is our first static exercise, holding a semi or a pseudo plank position. So starting from here, static exercise, hold for 30 to 60 seconds. Moving us to the dynamic exercise from this position, we're not gonna change anything. We're just gonna pull our knee in to work our hip flexors and our core again. Extend backwards to include our glutes, our hamstrings, and reverse. Push back, pull in, or pull in, push back, pull in, push back. Then other side, of course, never forget the other side. And then we pull our feet in, second plank. Now you can combine both of these exercises or you do them separately, however you feel. Level number 2 would be raising one leg, or if you can, raising both knees. So here we have a semi or half level step, and here we have a complete level step. Now you don't have to be able to hold the plank for a full minute before you can raise your knees. It is totally acceptable if you can only hold it for 5 seconds. That is perfect. Do your 5 seconds, take a short break, and repeat it once more. We're gonna move even lower now, down on our elbows, because from here we're going to require a lot more core engagement when we pull our legs in, as well as when we extend. We're going to use a little bit more back musculature as well. Pull in, round your back, full core engagement, extend your spine, pull up all the way, and repeat. Forward and backwards. Now you can make it even harder by including your shoulders. So when we move forward, we're gonna do the same with our shoulders. And when we move backwards, we're gonna do the same with our shoulders. Let's check it out on the other side. Pull in, move forward all the way. This is gonna require a lot of static strength in your shoulders, and then move back in the extension. We're gonna push our chest down towards the ground and forward, backward, forward, and backward. From here, the next level for our plank will be raising our knees once more. If you can't do the full minute, 5 seconds is more than enough, and work your way up progressively. Now, you might have also noticed that we don't have any crunches or sit-ups or anything like that because we're doing mostly full body exercises, or to be more precise, compound exercises. Compound exercises are the ones that include multiple joints in a single movement and multiple large muscle groups in a single movement. So, depending on the amount of time you have, as I said, go for 30 seconds to a full minute for every single exercise. If you only have time to do a single round of all of these exercises, then by all means, that's all the time you have. If you can build it in every single day, then that would be amazingly beneficial. As for intensity, you will be increasing that as you see fit, and the more comfortable you feel with the exercises, the harder you can go over time. And as a final tip, if you can do this in the very morning before you have breakfast on an empty stomach, you will be burning a little bit more fat, which is a simple and nice bonus to have in general. Now, sadly, however, this is all the time we both have left for you today. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I still have a little bit of work to do, but I will definitely see you tomorrow because we have new videos on this channel every single day. So if you like the video and subscribe and check out other videos. Captain Cairo, peace out.